recording video is hopefully going to help do the Chapter 1 homework problem. So we would go to Blackboard, we go to Class Sessions, and we will go to Chapter 1. I have really bad internet because I live out in the middle of nowhere and I have Frontier satellite, which is sort of like having AOL dial-up. So we go down and we see our homework assignment for Chapter 1. These are all out of order, and it's not letting me scroll. Okay. It's to do the cumulative software program problem, which is for the Incisor family. So we're going to go to our book, and we're going to go find this problem. So it is on Chapter 1. Again, it's on page 1-45. And it is about the Ivan Incisor family. So I'm not going to read the program or the problem because I assume you can read. However, I'm going to highlight the things we need to know. So we need to know that they're married and that one of them works and that they have 2 children. One of the children is a 17-year-old who is enrolled in high school and lives with them. The other child is 18 years old, and she's married, and she has children. So if we would go back and review in our chapter about who qualifies as a dependent, we would see that the daughter, Iris, does not qualify as a dependent. She's her own person for taxes. So we don't care about that. We also see that they have a savings account, interest income. And then the requirements are to use our computer software package to complete a Form 1040 for Ivan and Irene, save our file, because we're going to use it later, make assumptions about any information that's not given. So what we want to do is open up our tax software. So we're going to go here and open it up. If you don't have Windows 8, you can go to your desktop and open it, or go to your Start menu. However you get the program open, get it open. So then what we're going to do is we're going to say we want to start a new return. So at this point, I'm assuming you've loaded your software and you've updated it. So we're starting on a new return. So we're going to say start a return. It's going to ask, do we want to import last year's taxes? No, we do not. It's going to say, do we want to import data from financial software? No, we do not. Now it's going to tell us these are the things we need. So we have everything we need. It's all on page 45. Now it's going to tell us this is more stuff you're going to need. We have all that. We did not serve in the military. It's going to ask, were there any life changes? These are things that have special tax rules. Because this is Chapter 1, this is a very basic return, we have none of these. So we don't check anything. Now it's going to ask, what's our filing status? So we know that they are married and they file a joint return, because it tells us that in the problem. So we choose married, filing jointly, which if you click on the word, it'll tell you what you have to do to qualify for that. So we know we qualify for that. We're going to say next. Now it's going to have you enter the information. So our taxpayer is Ivan. So we're going to enter this, and we're going to do everything in all caps instead of upper lowercase. Do everything in all caps on taxes. That's not necessarily a requirement. It's just how I like to see it because it makes it neater and cleaner to look at. And it was also how I was taught to do tax returns when I took tax, so that's how I do them. So the middle initial is I. His last name, again, is Incisor. He is not a junior. And also notice that his first name is Ivan. It is not Dr. Ivan. His name is Ivan. On the taxes, they don't care that he's a doctor, so that gets completely left off. His social security number is 477-344321. And his date of birth, they don't tell us, but they do tell us that he's 48 years old. So we're going to go ahead and make up a date. So if he was 48 in 2014, that means he was born in 1966. So we're going to say he was born on July 8, 1966. And his occupation tells us that Dr. Incisor is a dentist. So he's a dentist. It also tells us he took 6 months off from work to attend dentist training, but we don't care about that, so we're not going to worry about that right now. His spouse's name is Irene, I believe. Yes, Irene. So Irene, Incisor. She's not a junior or anything. Her social security number is 637-344927. And her date of birth, again, it's not given, but we know she's 45. For her to have been 45 last year, she would have been born in 1969. So we'll say her birthday is March 20th, 1969. And she does not have an occupation, I believe. It says that she does not work. It doesn't tell us anything about her. So she just stays at home and takes care of their children. So you can kind of call that whatever you want. It can be unemployed, it can be homemaker, it can be mother, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to call her a homemaker. And then you want to put in their address. So they live at 468 Mule Deer Lane in Spokane, Washington. And their zip code is 99206. Then it wants to know a daytime telephone number. This is so the IRS can contact you if there's a problem. It doesn't give us one, so we're going to go ahead and just make one up. So we're going to say their telephone number is 317-444-4444. And then it's going to ask us for foreign information and their state tax returns. We're not doing any of that, so we just leave it blank. So don't make up information for that. Just say next. It's going to ask us now, do you want to save your return? You may not get this at this point. It does it every 10 minutes. So we're going to say yes, we would like to save it. It's going to ask us, where do you want to save your return at? So I encourage you to create a folder that you're going to save your tax returns for this class in. So for me, I have mine in my My Documents folder, and then I have a folder called Ivy Tech. Then I have a folder called Accounting 105. And then this is for Chapter 1, so I'm going to save it in Chapter 1. And I'm going to put my name in it. So make sure at the very beginning of the file, you put your last name. So I'm going to say, oops, that this was me. So I want to make sure that I put Lee's. I can't make it. I turned my caps off. There we go. Lee's. And then Ivan Incisor 2014 tax return. Just make sure that your name's in the file. And click on Save. Then go ahead and click on OK. And it's going to save that in that folder. Then it's going to make sure that you verify your information. It's very important the Social Security numbers are correct. So we want to check and see that we have them correct for 477-344321. And Irene's is 637-344927. So we're going to say next. It's going to ask us, do we want to do a state? We're going to say no. We're not going to do state. We're not going to do local. We're just doing the federal. And say next. Do they have any special situations? Nope, they don't. So we're going to say next. And it's going to ask about 2013. We don't know. So we're going to say, we don't know. Leave it all blank. This is going to show you some of the things that have changed. It's things like affordable care, some of the child care rules changed, and some of the rules changed about being married and how you file. You can watch these videos. They're very informative. They don't apply to us, so we're going to skip that. This is telling you about the Affordable Care Act. This is important. You're going to have to do this on every tax return that you do. So we're going to say next. And this is going to take us to the dependent screen. So now we need to decide who's a dependent. So we've already decided that only Ira is a dependent, but not Iris. So we're going to say add a dependent. And his first name again is Ira. And we're assuming his last name is Incisor. And his Social Security number is 690-999999. And his date of birth, it doesn't tell us, but we know he's 17 years old. So for him to be 17, he would have been born in 1997. So we're going to assume his birthday, let's say it was on September the 10th, 1997. And his relationship to us is he is our son. The living situation is he lived with us, and he lived with us the entire year. And he is a U.S. citizen. So say next. And it's going to again ask you to verify. Is this his name? Is this his Social Security number? And we verify it's 690-999999. And we say next. So now we see Ira Incisor is listed as a dependent. And we say finished. Now it's going to ask us about health care. Did you have health care? We're going to say yes, we did. And then it's going to ask us, did you buy it from the marketplace? And we're going to say, no, we did not. The next screen is going to say, congratulations, you had health insurance. And then it's going to ask about income. So that's the next step. So we're going to say next. It's going to say, what kind of income did you have? So we had wages from the job. We also had interest income. So we're just going to check those two boxes. I'm going to say next. So then the wages is going to come up, and we're going to say add a W-2. And this W-2 is for Ivan. And his address is the same. And his employer was Bite Wing Dental Clinic Incorporated. We don't have a W-2, so we don't have all this other information. If we had a W-2, we would fill it all in. You don't need to make it all up. It doesn't actually appear on the tax return anywhere. So what we're concerned with, again, is just the name of the company. We don't know any of this, so we're going to leave it blank. And we know his wages were $65,000, and his federal income tax withheld was $6,000. We don't know any of this other stuff, again, because they don't give us a full W-2, so we're just going to leave it all blank. And go ahead and click on Next. There's no special situation. It's not a corrected or anything, so we say Next. Now it's going to bring us back and say, okay, do you have any more W-2s? We don't, because he was the only one that worked, so we say we're finished. Then it's going to ask about our interest. So we want to add a 1099, and again, we're not getting an actual 1099, so we're going to pretend. So we're going to say interest reported on a 1099, which is how you would get your interest information. And it's going to say who was it for, and it was actually for both of them. And we're going to say it was from Pacific Northwest Bank, and their interest income was $380. It doesn't tell us anything else, so we're going to assume there isn't anything else. There was no taxes withheld. Again, on an actual 1099 form, you would have more information. You don't have to go through and put zeros on any of this, just leave it blank, and then say next. And I'll bring you back to the screen and show you this was the interest income we had. And so we say finished. So at this point, we have used all the information from our problem. We used paragraph 1, paragraph 2, his income, all the things from paragraph 3, all the things from paragraph 4. We've hit it all. So we don't have to do anything else. That was the whole problem. So you can kind of navigate through if you want to look around. You can see here was the personal information. Here was all the things we could have done for income, but we didn't have any of those. But in future chapters, you will. Adjustments, again, there's a little wizard that will walk you through all the different adjustments, all the standard deductions, all the credits, all the taxes, all the miscellaneous, and then finish. So we want to go, when we're finished, to tax summary. And that's going to bring up this screen that just basically shows all the important information, all important numbers. So this was our AGI. And then this was our taxable income, and this was our tax that we paid, the taxes we had due, and our refund. Calculates all this for you. You didn't have to actually do any of that because you put in the information. It knew what your deductions were, what your exemptions were, and it calculated your tax. So using this wizard, using the H&R Block software really makes taxes super easy so that anybody can do them so that you don't have to actually know all the rules. However, I encourage you to be able to do a tax return by hand on paper so that you know where all the information is coming from and what it should be. So once you have this done, we can go ahead and look at our form. So when you click on Next, it just transfers it. It's getting ready to do the state return, which we're not going to do. So we want to go and we can look at our actual form. We're not going to do a state return, so we're going to say, no, we don't want to do that. We're going to just do this federal return. So we can go up to Forms up on the top, and then it's going to bring up all the forms that went with this. So all we're really concerned with is what our Form 1040 looks like, because that's what it tells us to do in the assignment. So we click on Form 1040, and we're going to blow this up a little bit. So you see on here you have the Form 1040, and you still have all these mini worksheets. Go up here to the top and click on Hide Mini Worksheet, and it's going to just show you your form. And here you can double check and make sure you have all the information right. So when I grade it, what I'm looking for is to make sure that you have their names in, spelled correctly. Their social security numbers are correct. You have the filing status correct. You have their exemptions correct. Their dependents are correct and spelled, and their social security numbers are correct. Then you're going to have your wages, your interest income, your total income, your AGI. Then on page 2, it carries over your AGI, your itemized deductions, your exemptions, and then your actual tax. And then you're going to have the amount that you paid in, federal tax withheld, and then your refund. So those are the things for this problem that you're going to have. The tax refund should have been $739, so we know this is correct. And then down on the bottom, we want to make sure we have their occupation and their phone number. It's all correctly entered. Once we have this, we're going to click on Close. And then we're going to save it as a PDF file. If you haven't saved anything yet as a PDF file, you're going to need to go back to the video on how to do that and save it as a PDF file. So again, you're going to do File, and you're going to choose Save as PDF, and then it's going to create 2 files. One is going to be for filing, and one is going to be for records. You want to make sure that you submit to me the one that is for filing. I do not want the one that is for records. Again, I want the one that's for filing, because the other one's going to be like 34 pages long, and the for filing one is just going to be 3 pages. So I only want that one. I can get in here. I will show you what it's going to look like. Here it is. So it's going to come up and say the file name, for filing, for records. And again, you want the one that's for filing. If you open that up, it's a PDF file, and it's going to have a summary page, and it's going to have the tax return. And that's what you're going to submit to Blackboard for your actual assignment. So make sure, again, it's just this form. It has kind of some summary information, and then it's going to have your tax return following it. And this is not the actual one you just did. This is an incorrect one. So pay no attention to the fact that the numbers are wrong. I was trying to figure out how students were making mistakes, so I had messed with this one several times. But this is what it should look like in theory as far as what the file is going to look like. And then that's what you're going to submit via Blackboard to get graded. So if you have any questions, be sure to ask your instructor.